Navigating the cloud can sometimes feel like you've been dropped into this massive, sprawling city, but with no map. It's incredibly powerful, sure, but it's also complex, and that can get overwhelming, especially when you start thinking about security. How do you possibly make sure every single street and building is secure?
Right? That's the billion-dollar question. How do we take this amazing but seriously complicated environment and actually build a fortress around our most important applications and data? It sounds like a monumental task, but the solution, it turns out, is actually pretty elegant.
I mean, think about it. You would never, ever build a skyscraper without a detailed plan, right? The same thing goes for your cloud environment. You need a blueprint that lays out every foundation, every wall, and every security system before you even think about breaking ground.
So what is this blueprint we're talking about? Well, it's not just some abstract idea. It's a real, concrete set of guidelines developed by the very experts who built the cloud in the first place. This master plan is officially called the AWS Security Reference Architecture, or just SRA for short. In a nutshell, it's a comprehensive guide showing you exactly how to use all the different AWS services together to create a secure, resilient environment. And the best part? It's all based on AWS's own recommended best practices. And the SRA wasn't just cooked up in a lab somewhere. It was born from a very real customer need. People were saying, look, you've given us all these incredible security tools, but we really need a strategic view, a big picture of how they all fit together. The SRA is the answer to that call.
Okay, so before we can start putting up the walls and installing the security cameras, we have got to get the foundation right. And in the world of the cloud, that foundation is all about how you organize your accounts.
And this is really the key, the absolute bedrock of the whole thing. The entire SRA blueprint is built on what's called a multi-account strategy. So instead of cramming everything into one massive single account, the best practice is to use lots of smaller, specialized accounts, all managed from a central spot through a service called AWS Organizations.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way, a single account where everything and everyone is all mixed together. If one thing goes wrong, the blast radius is just huge. But look at the right. A multi-account strategy creates these strong, logical boundaries. Each team or app gets its own space, which gives you resource independence and, most importantly, isolates risk. It's like having watertight compartments on a ship. One leak won't sink the whole thing.
All right, our foundation is set. So now, let's take a tour of the digital fortress that this blueprint helps us build. We're going to look at the specialized rooms, or accounts, that each serve a very specific, unique security purpose.
Okay, so this table here is basically our tour map. You can see how accounts are grouped into what AWS calls organizational units, or OUs, just to keep things neat and tidy. We've got purpose-built accounts for management, for security tooling, logging, networking, and of course, for the applications themselves. So let's dive in and look at the big ones.
First up, the org management account. This is the big one. It's the absolute root of your entire AWS organization, your command center. All the heavy-hitting governance services live here, and its job is to create other accounts and apply those top-level security policies. And because it's so powerful, access to this thing is locked down tight.
All right, next stop on our tour, the security tooling account. This is your central security operations hub. Think of it as the room with all the surveillance monitors and the security guards. This is where key services like Amazon Guard Duty for threat detection and AWS Security Hub for monitoring are all managed, giving you that single pane of glass view across all of your other accounts.
Then we have the log archive account. I love this analogy. Think of it as a tamper-proof, immutable court record room. All of the important security logs, from CloudTrail, from your network, from everywhere, are funneled here and stored in a way that prevents them from ever being altered or deleted. This is just non-negotiable for audits and incident investigations. Okay, I know this diagram looks a little busy, but the idea behind it is actually super simple. This is the network account. It's the secure gatehouse and customs checkpoint for your entire cloud environment. It controls all the traffic flowing in and out, managing your firewalls and your connection to the internet, and it isolates these critical functions away from your actual applications.
And last but definitely not least, we have the application accounts. This is where your apps actually live and breathe. Each application, with all of its different services, lives in its own dedicated, isolated account. And that isolation, that is the whole point. It means a security issue in one app is contained and it doesn't spread to the others. Okay, so we've toured all the different rooms in our fortress, but real security isn't just about strong walls. A truly secure architecture has layers of protection. It's a concept called defense in depth. Let's see how this blueprint pulls that off.
So what is defense in depth? It's a simple but incredibly powerful idea. You never ever rely on just one single security control. The SRA applies security at multiple layers, so if one control fails or maybe gets misconfigured, other layers are still there, ready to protect your critical stuff. It's like having a moat and high walls and guards at the door.
So let's break down what those layers actually look like in this blueprint. You start at the very top, the broadest level, with organization-wide guardrails that apply to every single account. Then you get more specific with network controls managing traffic. Below that, you have controls inside each account. And finally, at the very core, you have protection for individual resources, like a single server or a database.
In this slide, this is where it all just clicks. It shows you exactly how different AWS services are built to work at these different layers. On the left, you see services like AWS organizations that work across the whole environment. And on the right, you see services like a network firewall that focus specifically on those deeper network and compute layers. It really is security at every level.
Okay, we've done the tour, we've talked about the layers, so what? Why does building your cloud on this blueprint actually matter? What's the big idea here? Well, it matters because this blueprint isn't just a jumble of services that someone thought looked good on a diagram. It's the actual physical embodiment of core, battle-tested security design principles. Principles like having a strong identity foundation, applying security at all those layers we just talked about, and automating your best practices so security can actually scale with your business instead of slowing it down.
So if you're going to remember 3 things from all of this, let it be these. This blueprint is designed to help you do 3 incredibly powerful things. First, separate duties by putting different functions in different accounts. Second, centralize governance by managing it all from the top down. And third, automate security so it's built in from the start, not bolted on as an afterthought. These are the absolute pillars of doing cloud security right.
And that really brings us to the final and maybe most important question, one for you to think about. When you look at your own cloud environment, was it carefully designed with a blueprint that baked in security from day one? Or did it just kind of grow over time, piece by piece? The answer could make all the difference in the world.